What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone's having a good day. Got a lot to cover in today's episode, including Kwon. Yes, his interview was a bit of a snooze fest last week, but there was one interesting tidbit from the interview that mainstream media did not pick up on, and I did. I'll share that with you in a little bit, plus news on TRON, FTX, and Binance. Don't forget the like and subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at bencryptoshow. Let's dive in. So first, market action, 21,300. Been 21,000, 21,500 for quite a while. At this point, since we weren't able to plow past 24,000, I think prices will probably stay here for quite a while now, maybe about 4 to 6 weeks. There's just not enough upward momentum, in my opinion, to get on a run at this point. I think just enough time has to go by, and then prices will just on their own just naturally start to increase a little bit. Then maybe 1 week they might go up a little bit, 22,000 to 23,500, then to 25,000, then 26,500, and then as enough weeks go by and prices keep going up, then I think the retail crowd will see that, and then they'll start to go in on their own. But trying to force, the retail traders in right now, it's a little bit difficult. They just need to see the prices moving up, and I think they'll start moving up in 4 to 5 weeks. That's my prediction. Let's get into the news. So yeah, the Kwon interview. So he gave his big, much hyped interview last week. It was with this media organization, Coinage, right here. They have a whopping 1,600 subscribers on YouTube. I have way more than them even. They did this sort of kind of teaser release, just one video one day, then another video, then another video, then another video. Here was one of the teasers. The much typed teasers that I played last week. I'll play for you again right now.
Yeah. And does it impact any of the joy and or fears in what the toy can do? Yeah. And does it impact any?
So yeah, as you can tell, Coinage Media, they are the masters at building hype. Nobody does it better than Coinage Media. But so yeah, because of that, the interview didn't really get that much attention. Nobody really even seemed to watch the whole thing, but I did. And then there was one interesting little tidbit, so I'll get to that in a second. So first, this part here, Kwon, if this video will load, Kwon kind of says what we know he's going to say right here. Alright, well that video's not loading, but oh, here it is. Okay.
It's very difficult to lead life, right? So, yes, there was an internal mole. He was sharing screenshots of various different things. Probably precedes the DPEG, been leaking things to the press and things like that.
So there, Kwon's basically just saying what we all know, that that wasn't really that surprising, but, as we all know, they had to remove $150 million at once when they were migrating from 4-pool to 3-pool. They had to move $150 million off the Curve DAO protocol, and that left them vulnerable for if a large sale occurred of Luna, which did $290 million, then UST would lose its peg, and that's what happened. And that large sale happened 4 minutes after they removed the $150 million of liquidity. So Kwon was basically just saying somebody on the team must have revealed the fact that they were going to move the $150 million at that precise moment. Otherwise, how else would somebody know? So that's not really too groundbreaking. But then he says this right here. This is interesting.
So the attack happened with the 4-pool migration plans, and the only people that knew that were TFL employees. The event happened precisely at the moment when our entire leadership were on flights trying to get to Singapore for like a quarterly summit. So thereby like incapacitated from any, responses either on social media.
So that's interesting right there. So basically, the executive team was on a flight going to Singapore from probably all over the world, it sounds like. So that was right when the attack happened. So even though, step one, the attacker knew that $150 million was pulled and they would be able to get UST off its hinge a little bit, the fact that all the executives were on a flight and they couldn't really be No one could communicate with them. They couldn't trade quickly. They couldn't check their Twitters and see the damage. It would be hours before they were able to land and then start buying back Luna to help UST restore its peg. It's, this basically confirms, we all know, this was just sort of a Machiavellian-style sniper hit. Somebody had all the information. They knew exactly when the $150 million was going to be pulled. They knew that the executive team was going to be on a flight at that exact time, meaning it must have been some lower tier employee who was in charge of pulling the $150 million in money, and then maybe that was the employer, someone around them who let the attacker know that all this was going to happen. But yeah, that was all interesting. They were just clearly at their weakest in terms of the money getting pulled, and the whole team on a plane for hours, and all it took was just a couple hours, not even, for UST to be off its peg at that point, and then the death spiral had already started. So the first hour, 2-3 hours, that's the most crucial part when a stable coin depegs, and that was enough to just bring everything down to zero. Let's move on. FTX. So they put out this financial report with CNBC last week. FTX grew revenue 1,000% during the crypto craze, leaked financials show. So it looks like Sam Bankman-Fried might have been a little bit. You might have kind of noticed the great sort of PR campaign that Flo and Adam Newman put on, a very effective PR campaign last week, which I was a fan. I was a fan of that project, so he might have been kind of motivated by that. But yeah, no, they did very well in 2021. The financials show that they went from revenues of only $90 million in 2020 to $1 billion in 2021. That's huge. Also, the U.S. revenue only accounts for 5% of total revenue for FTX. I didn't know that. I figured Binance was like that. I thought FTX had more of a U.S. base, but I guess they're very international. What else? Operating income went up from $14 million to $272 million in 2020-21. That's impressive. Net income up from $17 million to $388 million. That's big. First quarter of this year, they did $270 million in revenue. That's impressive. Now, they didn't say what they did in quarter 2 of this year. That was the quarter of the carnage, and that was the quarter that Coinbase got hit really hard, and you've just been seeing all the headlines about that. So it's, obviously they didn't quite do nearly as well as previous quarters. Revenues and profits obviously went down, but, it was like that with every single company in the industry. So no problem there. And then, let's see, it gets better and better. 27% gross profit margins, that's huge. Margins closer to 50% if advertising and related party expenses were stripped out. And then here was the most impressive part right here. So remember I was saying in the Dan Bilzerian Ignite video that a normal company, they spend about between 10 and 30% of their total revenues on advertising and marketing. That's healthy. So I would have thought FTX would have been on the higher end of that, like 30%, and then Ignite was 150%, and we saw what happened to that. But I would have thought FTX would have probably been closer to 30%, since we see so many Super Bowl commercials, Tom Brady commercials, Larry David commercials. But no, he said that apparently it was only 15% revenue spent on advertising and marketing, even though they've got huge names there, like Tom Brady's. That's pretty impressive. So it just goes to show they are just effectively spending their advertising and marketing. And it does appear that celebrity endorsements, even the biggest celebrities imaginable, like Tom Brady, that is more effective than long-term sort of stadium deals. But they also got the naming rights to the Miami Heat arena. So they spent money there. So I guess it just sort of depends on the type of stadium deal. But nonetheless, they are running a very efficient company. And then like Coinbase, so 15% FTX advertising revenue, and then Coinbase. So last year they put out these press releases showing how they managed to be super profitable, keeping low profit margins. Coinbase and Roblox, take a page from Google, keep marketing costs way down ahead of public debuts. So they only spent 4.4% of total revenues on sales and marketing in 2020. 4.4%, that's way below the 10 to 30% threshold, way below FTX's 15%. So that was very impressive at the time because they were very profitable on a ton of revenue. So the insinuation here was just advertising was kind of a waste of time. Well, it might be like that in a bull market, but in a bear market, it's just not really, because Coinbase has lost a lots of market share to FTX specifically. Binance is still top dog, but FTX has sort of overtaken Coinbase as the number 2. exchange out there. So, advertising a market, that's what keeps you sort of relevant, especially in the bear market time. So if you're not spending any, then you're just going to sort of fade from people's view. But they are still, it appears, the number 3 exchange, or they're still pretty close with FTX for the number 2 and 3 exchanges in terms of total trading volumes. Let's move on. CZ, what's up with him? Let's go through all the exchanges here. CZ put out this tweet. This might have been a thinly veiled reference to Adam Neumann and Flow, but he wrote, "Be wary of founders that move from project to project," because Adam Neumann, he moved from Flow Carbon, pivoted, that was 2 months ago, to Flow right now. They appear to be different projects. So yeah, I agree with CZ, like 99% of the time, it's definitely better founders who stay with one project. The Adam Neumann case, in a bear market, I think just having projects that people are really hyped about, just getting any project that excites people, that gets people talking, even if it doesn't succeed, or if it does succeed, doesn't matter. You just need people talking about a project. So I might think this might be the 1% of the time where a founder that goes from one project to the other is okay. But 99% of the time, I agree with them. What else with Binance? They are expanding into Cambodia. Doing good. They'll be at Binance Blockchain Week in Paris. They're hitting the promotion week hard, hitting the promotion tour. That is good. Let's move on. Let's get all the big names in here. Justin Sun, haven't reported on him in a while. So he created the USDD algorithmic stablecoin, which after we saw what happened with UST and Terra, then everyone was very afraid of USDD, the same thing happening, but we haven't been hearing too much from them lately, which is a good thing in the world of stablecoins. You don't want to be hearing about stablecoins. Any news is bad news, always. So it's been 3 months, haven't heard of USDD really depegging at all. That is good. He explains what is attributed the success of the coin to. So it is an algorithmic stablecoin, remember. That's not like a reserve-backed stablecoin, which is like what Circle's USDC is, or Tether. So people thought algorithmic stablecoins would just become dinosaurs and go extinct after UST, which was an algorithmic stablecoin, and we saw what happened with them. But no, USDD. So he says the difference between his coin, and UST is that UST, everything was tied to Luna, so the one-to-one minting mechanism, you could exchange $1 worth of UST only for $1 worth of Luna, and back and forth. So if UST lost its peg, which it did, then the death spiral of the exchanging would keep happening with Luna, so Luna would also be dragged down to zero. He solved that, where you can exchange $1 worth of USDD for 4 different coins. You can exchange it for $1 of TRON. That's like the same thing. But then you can also exchange $1 of USDD for $1 of USDT, that's Tether, $1 of USDC, that's Circle's coin, and then $1 of a 4th coin. So this hybrid model means that, yes, USDD is still at risk of being depegged, but if it depegs, all of these sort of exchanges and minting one-to-one will not happen on TRON. They will be spread across 4 different stablecoins, so each of the 4 different coins, so each of those other 4 coins will be hit, but hopefully one of the coins wouldn't be brought down to 0, specifically TRON, which is what happened with Terra. That's it for today. Hope everyone enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at bencryptoshow. Hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. Be back tomorrow with a new episode. Until then, this is Ben, signing out. Catch you later.